Hello, and thank you for attending SAGE Alerts and Workflow video-based training. Please note that this is video-based training, and content is for training purposes only and intended for new and existing SAGE Alerts and Workflow customers.
Hi, my name is Jane Nichols, and today we are going to talk about the Email Response System, or ERS, for the Alerts and Automation solution. The Email Response System enables the solution to monitor and respond to the content of incoming email messages. If an email message meets certain criteria, you can reroute the message to specific recipients, notify people about the message, auto-reply to the sender, trigger the generation and delivery of specific reports or forms, match the sender of the email with a record in an underlying database, or use the contents of the message to add or update information in an underlying database. ERS refers specifically to the ability to monitor incoming messages and respond to them. If your interest is only in sending outgoing alert messages via email, you do not need to use the ERS. Here is an overview of how ERS works. You identify what email accounts the solution will monitor for incoming messages. When a new message arrives, the solution loads its data into an internal table called Inbox. Queries check the content of the incoming email message to see if the message meets certain criteria. Events that use these queries send out alerts, auto-respond to the sender, and update application databases with the message data. Today, we are going to look at an event that sends an email to notify production when a new order has been received. The email will also show the customer's request date. We will set up an email account to monitor, and then when production replies to that email with a new promise date, it will automatically update the order in the database with the new promise date and send an email to customer service notifying that this change has been made. The first step is to identify the email account to monitor. In the Admin module, select the Services tab and Email Accounts option. Here is where you will add the email account that you will be monitoring. Now for this example, we will select the Macola EEM account, and I'll go ahead and just click on the Edit button in the front. Here we're going to go to the Email Response System Incoming, and we'll make sure that the Download Incoming Messages from this account has been selected. Next, we're going to go ahead and click on the Content Processing button to the right. And here is the Subject and Message Text Processing Options window. The solution can parse through the contents of incoming messages and can load individual elements of message data into specific fields in the ERS inbox table. The inbox table comes pre-configured with a number of fields that can have data parsed into them from an incoming message. You may also modify the inbox table to include additional fields that you'd like to map data to. The order in which you specify the parsing fields is very important. The order that you designate in the solution must be the same as the order that the fields appear within the incoming email messages. For this example, we will be storing the number in the inbox field called order number, and the new ship date will be stored in the inbox field called UDF_date1. In the value starts after label should be the text that will precede the value. Next, you will click on the drop-down arrow to show the options for the value ends at. And finally, click in the Store Value In column and select the field from the drop-down menu in the Solutions Inbox table column to load this value into. Repeat this process for each field you wish to map. Click Update to save. Although the ERS cannot scan the contents of attached files, it can identify whether a message has attachments and the names of them. Additionally, attachments are automatically stored in the Solutions Attachments folder, and an ERS event may copy or move the attached files to a location of your choice. So let's take a look at the event that notifies production of a new order. That is saved in my ERP application and then under Events. We'll go ahead and click on the Edit button for the new sales order Write to Database event. So let's go ahead and take a look at the trigger for this event, which is a query. I can edit the query from the event by clicking on the blue Edit button. This opens the query designer for the new sales order Write to Database query. This query will show orders that have been entered today. So if we look at the Columns tab, you can see we are pulling from two database tables, the order header and the order line tables. And I have added several columns for this query below. And if we click on the Links tab, it shows that the two tables are linked together using a left outer join. Going to the Filters tab, you will see that there is one filter with the column name of order date with a value of using today's date with a date equal to today's date. When I click on the Preview tab, you can see that we have one order that was entered today that production needs to be notified about. We'll go ahead and close this query and go back to the event and click on the deliverables section. I have one deliverable, which is the email. You can see that we have an order number in the message subject, and the first line in the email body says new ship date. This is where production will put in the new promise date when they reply to the email. The rest of the email shows the order number, the customer, and the promise date. Typically, there would be more information for production, including order detail and line item quantities, but with this example, we're going to keep it simple. So now let's go to the subscribers section and click on Standard. You can see that I have listed Jane Doe as the only subscriber to receive the email. Let's go ahead and exit this event, and we will go ahead and click on Run Now to receive the email notifying of the new sales order being entered. Here you can see that the email has been received notifying production of the new order. We will revisit this email again later. This next step will be creating an email response system query and event. ERS queries retrieve data from the inbox table. This table contains both loadable fields as well as preloaded fields that the solution populates with details from incoming messages. Let's click on the Email Response System application and then Queries. I've created a new sales order Write to Database query, so I'm going to click on Edit and we'll take a look at that one. Be sure that your active box has been selected. In the Columns tab, you can see that we have selected the inbox table, and we'll go ahead and click on the blue box with the arrow to show the columns in the table to the right. Use the Search Columns field or scroll on the right to find your fields and add them to the selected columns below by double-clicking on the column name or clicking on the green box with the plus sign. I've added the order number, user-defined date 1, email account, and subject columns. There is only one table being used in this query, so nothing needs to be linked. We'll move to the Filters tab, and you can see that we have two filters. The first is the email account that we will be monitoring. We are saying that it is like for the operator, and then a portion of the email address with percent signs on both ends. You can use the operator equals to and key in the entire email address if you would like. This is a character in the type field, and we'll use and to include the second filter, which is the subject we are monitoring for. Again, we use is, like for the operator, and this time looking for the word confirmation in the subject field, also surrounded by percent signs, since the subject may include different numbers, etc. So the type for this filter is character. During your testing, you can reply to the email corresponding to this ERS query, and you will see that email in the Preview tab. Otherwise, there will be no items to display, as you see in this case. So let's go back to that email and click Reply and key in a new ship date that production is saying they can meet. This date must be in the same format that matches with your database date format, and click Send. Now we can go back and click on Preview again, and you will see the email response that just came in. Next, we will create the ERS event. So inbox events are created just like standard application events. However, you might decide that you'd like to link an incoming email message to a corresponding contact record within a customer database. This would let you identify the corresponding account manager and alert them, update the customer's record with the details of the incoming message, create a record such as a support ticket and link that ticket to the customer, or identify if the sender is not already in your customer database. So we need to create an event in the ERS system. So we will click on Events. We'll go ahead and save that. And I've created an event that is New Sales Order Updates Database. And let's take a look at that. Be sure that the checkbox is selected for Active. And we'll go ahead and make sure you include any reports on copy operations and keep only the last checked record in the monitor. For the schedule, you will see it is set to when the email arrives. So by clicking on the schedule, the last option in the list is when email arrives. So we just went ahead and selected that. Moving on to the triggers section, we've selected the new sales order write to database query from the ERS application. Let's look at the deliverables. First is an email. Be sure to add the email account to send from and key in a message in the message subject. I've used database change confirmation with the order number. The message in the body of the email states that the new date has been updated. The other deliverable for this example is Submit SQL. I've added a row by clicking on the Add Row button, and the Submit SQL Editor window opens. Confirm the connection to the database you wish to write to, and then select the table that stores the columns you need in your SQL statement. On the right side are some sample SQL statements, functions, and calculations to use in your SQL statement. In this example, I have selected the sample update SQL statement in one or more records. From here, fill in the table name and columns from the selected table. You will select the values from the columns of triggers and then click Update. Finally, we will look at the Subscribers section and look at standard subscribers. For testing purposes, I've added myself, but this is where you can add other individual subscribers or a group of subscribers. If you wish to send to someone outside your organization using an email address from a table, then you would do so in the advanced subscribers. The top portion deals with the message break fields, and the bottom portion is where you click the drop down in the database field and select the email address field. It is important to note that you should not use standard subscribers with the advanced subscribers CC or BCC options. The standard subscribers will end up receiving duplicate emails. Let's click Update and close this event. My ERS is set to run automatically every 5 minutes. You can check the status of the email response in the Monitor module of the solution. You can also check the status of the deliverables in the Monitor module. In this example, it would be email delivery and actions taken. You can confirm that the database record was updated by checking the order in your system and seeing that the new ship date is there. The other deliverable was an email stating that the new date has been updated. This concludes our discussion on the email response system in the Alerts and Automation solution. Thank you and have a great day.
Thank you for attending SAGE Alerts and Workflow video-based training.